Good morning, everybody. You are tuned to Computers 2K now on the Nissan Communications Network. I'm Amnon, your host for the next couple of hours, along with Gal.
Morning.
Good morning. And Nick.
Hi.
And Spence is here. Well,
I hope there's not a significant time delay. I'm here at the DMZ.
Oh, hey.
And it's amazing how fast the communication.
You crossed over, right?
I did.
Yeah, good.
I did briefly.
What country are you getting your internet from?
It's direct to the satellite from here.
Oh, wow, that's
bypass
impressive.
the whole thing.
Amnon's got a lot of money from what I understand. So
that's right.
Our number is 919-518-9773, Computers 2K Voice on Skype. And today's show is made possible by vMix Software, Telestream's Wirecast software, and is sponsored by Tom Sinclair Live Streaming Gear. Yeah, Spence, there's no telling where he is.
It could be anywhere.
Anywhere. Watch that guy behind you.
He's watching me. That's the problem.
Okay.
See, there's another guy back there too. You got to just move out.
Oh yeah. Oh, and he's look at that. Look at that look he's giving you.
That's it.
Yeah.
Anybody watch that show Better Late Than Never? The one with Henry Winkler and Terry Bradshaw and William Shatner and George Foreman. It was about they traveled around the world. If you haven't watched it, you need to watch the episode about Korea. Because they go to Korea and then they take them supposedly to the DMZ. And then it's a fake DMZ that they use in movies, but they don't know that. And they pretend that there's an incident where both sides start pointing guns at each other. It's great. It's really
I'm going to look that up. That looks like a good show.
Yeah, it's a funny show.
So what else is happening?
Back. What else is happening?
Other than the DMZ?
Other than it being hot?
It's a historical thing that he did over there. Definitely. We'll talk about it a little bit later. But in the meantime, those of you that want new computers, new motherboards, whatever, it's just over 2 weeks until AMD full Ryzen 3000 family of processors arrive. Maybe 1 week now. And it appears Intel is concerned about the effect they may have on its own chip sales. As such, the company is reportedly planning to reduce the price of its 8th and 9th generation CPUs by 10 to 15%. That report comes from DigiTimes, citing sources from motherboard makers. It claims Intel has already notified its downstream PC and motherboard partners about the processor price drops, which could see anything from $25 to $75 knocked off the CPUs. If the report is accurate, the enthusiast 8-core 16-thread core i9-9900K will be one of the chips to see a price reduction, as will the i7-9700 and the i5-9600K. Now, I don't
Now
understand.
these are the previous Ryzen.
These are not Ryzen's. These are
Oh,
Intel's.
Ryzen's been out for a while.
Yeah,
Right.
Intel is going to drop it because the Ryzen
Oh, Intel. I get
3000
it. Okay.
is
I see.
coming out.
Yes.
As
Which
a
is good
reaction.
thing.
Yeah, that's
I
a
see. Okay.
reaction.
I
Now,
misunderstood.
why only the 8th and 9th generation? I don't understand. Are they not making the 7th generation anymore? Is that what it is? Or do they think that it's cheap enough?
Well, I don't have the answer to that,
Yeah,
but I will say that I watch a lot of tech YouTubers and tech content on YouTube, and it is incredible. Go back 2 or 3 years, and none of these people are building like crazy machines. None of them were using AMD for anything. If you were building a computer with an AMD, their assumption was, or their opinion was, why even bother? And with Ryzen now, I'm seeing probably half to a quarter to half of the builds now happening with Ryzen, and in a large part because of the price point.
Yep.
I mean,
it's mainly because of the price point.
Yeah, I watched a guy. I watched a guy called Bitwick, I think is his name, and he did a series the other day or last week. He went to Best Buy. I think it was sponsored by Best Buy, but he built an entire computer off of Best Buy components bought at Best Buy, and they were doing price comparisons, and the whatever Ryzen 7 or 9 or whatever Ryzen he purchased was similarly spec'd, and in store was like $130 cheaper than whatever Core i5 Intel processor it was equivalent to. So I mean you're talking about a serious, and the motherboards tend to be a little bit cheaper as well. The Ryzen motherboards tend to be just a little bit cheaper, so you're talking about $250 depending on what processor you buy for similar performance, when previously the processors were $200 or $300 cheaper, but you had the crappy
right.
I don't remember, XFX series of or not XFX, maybe it is XFX, I don't know. The
You had
older,
shitty performance.
well, yeah, and I mean I've got this I don't know if you can see it in my shot, but that monitor is sitting on top of an old I think it's I don't remember what AMD processor it is, but the damn thing overheats.
That's the AM8 or something like that, whatever.
Yeah,
it was.
the I don't know why the name is escaping me, but it's I mean it's the damn thing overheats. It's got a Corsair H60 water cooler on it, and the damn thing won't won't stay on. It's
Well,
it's
they
the
also didn't do a very good job of dealing with the exploits. AMD, they kind of dropped the ball on that when they had what was the Spectre, and what was the other one?
I remember Spectre,
but it was the 2 hardware exploits that were out there that everybody was surprised by. But they didn't act real quick in coming up with a patch. If some of them, they didn't even patch. They said, we're not going to. Intel did the same thing, but I mean, Intel seemed to handle it, or at least get through it a little better. But I've always been an AMD user when it made sense. The one I'm on now is an AMD. It's an FX 8320.
Oh, that's what I have.
Yeah,
that's
a great machine. I've had very little issues with it. I did build it. I built the crap out of the cooling system. But
yeah. I made the mistake of trying to water cool it when I should have air cooled it. But nevertheless, I mean the FX process previously, the FX line of processors compared to the early core i3, i5s, i7s was, I mean, it wasn't even comparable in terms of performance. I mean, the Intels would run circles around the AMDs, and now and it's funny because it was, I mean, I don't remember when the FX series first came out, but I mean, it was a good 8 years, 10 years for where AMD was pretty much not competitive in that space whatsoever, and I think Intel got way too complacent, and now they're kind of up the creek without a paddle, trying to catch up to AMD. I mean, this Ryzen launch has totally shaken up the market.
I think what helps AMD too is sideline business for graphics processors really helps them because they're pouring money into that because it's a huge, lucrative market, and they benefit from the new technology to develop on the line for that to help with their other processor business. Where Intel, I mean, they're not exactly known for graphics, right? Yeah, they're there for embedded graphics, but it's not like you go, oh, I got to go out and buy the latest Intel graphics card. No, you don't. So
I just doing a quick price comparison here from this is one of the most recent processors I've seen. The AMD Ryzen 5 2600 MSRPs for $150, and that's equivalent to the i5 8400 Intel, which MSRPs for $200. So you're talking about a $50 price for almost identical performance. In some cases, better performance, depending on how the system is built. You're talking $50, which is a huge cost when, I mean, these computers are expensive. And I'm looking at a benchmark right here. The Ryzen, they say the Ryzen is benchmarking better in a lot of cases.
If it's benchmarking better, then Intel is in real trouble.
They are, and they've got those, and they do the physical threads instead of the hyper threads. And there's all these issues with Coffee Lake and whatnot that Intel's dealing with. I think it's interesting. If I was building I don't know. People have second machines that they use for things. I mean, you can build a very cost-effective, powerful AMD Ryzen computer for probably $600 or $700, and you'll get good performance on it, and you won't. I've thought about building a second computer a couple times for some various things. If I was to build a new, not a main computer, if I was to build a secondary computer today, I would put Ryzen in at 100%. Wouldn't even contemplate it.
And I'm wondering if it actually works with the video card with their chip better than Intel. I don't know.
I doubt it. Nvidia kind of owns in a lot of cases, Nvidia kind of owns the GPU market for higher end things. But I mean, depending on what you're doing, some of the AMD cards are good, like the R9 Mini and stuff like that are pretty good cards.
Yep.
I think it's interesting because I mean, really, if you were building a new computer for the last 10 years, you were pretty much putting an Intel in it. In most cases, it's just a better processor.
All right.
It's interesting to watch these companies from a technology perspective, but you also have to look at it from a business cycle perspective. It doesn't matter what you produce. You always will go through this. I remember Tom Peters used to be very big into quality. He's still out there for quality, but he was the big name back in the 80s and 90s about companies showing excellence in how they would deal with things. But you follow a cycle. You have innovation, initial adoption, you go up to where it becomes mainstream, you peak out, and you start to drop down again. But if you're not innovating and you get complacent, you go into a deep trough, and then you have to fight your way back out again, and maybe you'll surpass the last peak. But if you're smart, the dips are small and you continue to rise as a company. But most companies at some point in their life, they don't fail necessarily, but they certainly don't keep up. And you saw that happen with AMD, unfortunately. Went through some management issues. They went through some acquisition issues. But I was building AMD machines back when people would laugh just because it was cheap.
Yeah, it was a lot cheaper.
Or definitely, I mean, you're starting to see. Apparently, Intel's releasing a 128 thread, or no, maybe it's a 64 core, 128 hyper threaded CPU and some i9 that's coming out. It's pretty. It's definitely, you can see in just the past. If you actively watch these tech channels, you can see in the last. Ryzen's been out a year and a half. You can see the I don't know what you call it, the nervousness of Intel by looking at the kind of things they're releasing and the quickness behind them.
Well, they have a lot to lose.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. Instead of, I kind of feel like it's Apple a little bit. It's not the same thing, but Apple just kind of sits and does their own thing and stagnates with a lot of things. I feel like that's what Intel has been doing for 10 years, slowly releasing things when they want because there's no competition. And AMD turned up the heat, and no pun intended, and that now Intel's kind of chasing AMD's tail on it.
Yeah, look like I remember that it's an older story from April, but that Intel was trying to sell their smartphone modem business. Get out of that, which wasn't really helping them.
What is that? I didn't realize they had a smartphone modem business. They
Well,
make
it's
their
got to
chips?
do. It's for your 5G
Oh.
for the mobile device for
Hmm.
it to go from 5G to data on your it's a Qualcomm competitor.
Gotcha.
But they're trying to sell that off, so they realize maybe not keeping up here.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, the consumer wins.
Absolutely.
Lower prices on both sides, so we win.
Oh, that makes me wonder all the Google news this week, and what happened with Veritas
Yeah.
putting out that video about that was all this past week, right? I kind
It
of
was.
lost track.
It was a lot of busy
Holy
week.
crap. I mean, it's just confirmation of what we already knew. But man, I love what Ted Cruz did to that Google lady.
Let's get to it a little bit
testimony.
later.
Yeah.
Right now, I mean, here's another something to worry about and something to talk about. This is from last week. The stories from last week. The City Council of Riviera Beach, Florida, voted last week to pay more than $600,000 to a ransomware gang so city officials could recover data that has been locked and encrypted more than 3 weeks ago. The city's decision, as reported by CBS News, came after officials came to the conclusion that there was no other way to recover the city's files. Access to Riviera City data has been locked since May 29 this year, when a Riviera Beach Police Department employee opened an email and unleashed ransomware on the city's network. The ransomware locked files and shut down all the city's services. Operations have been down ever since, with the exception of 911 services, which were able to continue to operate, although limited. The city's websites, email server, billing system, and everything else has been down ever since.
When did this happen?
This happened 2 weeks ago. This happens at the end of May 20, since May 29, but the story came out last week, so it's from 2 weeks ago. All the city communication being done in person, over the telephone, or via posters. The city has been having a hard time recovering from the incident ever since. Now, that's not, I mean, it's something about Florida. It has something to do with Florida. Where is it? Come on, where's that story?
Hey, Mike.
Hi.
Hey, Mike.
Hello.
There's
According to the
another
article I read, Amnon, they've already gotten their data back. They were only off 2 weeks. Now, what's the date of your story? Because mine's June 26th. Yours may be newer than
mine. I missed it last week, so it's from 2 weeks ago.
Okay, so
Yeah.
they've gotten it back. They paid. What's interesting is that, and you're right, there are 2 places in Florida that got hit.
Yeah.
And they paid the ransom, and they did get their data back. And the reason why is because these data scammers have found out that the FBI has a universal policy of never paying ransomware. So what has happened is actually quite interesting, in that these ransom people have instituted somewhat of a system of honor integrity, and that is, if you pay us, you will get your data back.
Yeah,
So
because
these two,
if they don't give you the data back, then nobody is going to pay them.
Correct.
If
They
they
found
get-
out that before that you pay us and you'll get your data back, and then they ignore you. Then they find out that people say, well, if I'm not going to get it, if I'm going to pay it and not get it, or not pay it and not get it, I'd rather not pay it and not get it.
Yeah, so that second city, this is a new story. Less than a week after the first Florida city agreed
Lake
to
City.
pay,
Lake City.
yeah, they agreed to pay a whopping $600 to get their data back from Hagen. Now a second city's administration is taking the same path. Emergency meeting of the city council, the administration of Lake City, a small Florida city with a population of 65,000, voted to pay ransom demand of 42 bitcoins, worth nearly 500,000. The decision to pay the ransom demand was made after the city suffered a catastrophic malware infection earlier this month on June 10th, which the city described as a triple threat. Despite the city IT staff disconnecting impacted system within 10 minutes of detecting the attack, a ransom strain infected almost all of its computer systems, with the exception of the police and fire department, which ran on a separate network. So they were lucky that it probably ran on a guest network on the same router.
No, none of this has anything to do with luck. This is all predictable, and you have to be responsible and take responsibility for your screw ups. There
Absolutely.
should be. What do we tell them? We tell them every time at the end of the show, back up your data.
Okay, so let me ask you this then. So I manage a small network, and I mean, so they clearly have somebody there that's competent, because within 10 minutes of figuring out something was wrong, they started disconnecting everything. So relatively quick turnaround time. Well, I mean, I wonder what system. Obviously, you lose your data, but they always say systems. What systems are getting locked by this database?
Well, they're talking about
anything that relies on data.
Every file on your hard drive.
I understand that, but so what are they running? I guess then they've got servers they're storing data and running servers locally.
If they're Windows servers, they will also be locked.
Yeah, because that's always the thing I find odd about this is, like I said, and the other thing, they were unable to do any billing. No,
right. That's the systems they're talking about.
Yeah,
Nick.
well, so that's what I'm wondering.
The billing system, the email system. I mean, it's you call it whatever you want. To them, it's a system.
Yeah,
it's all part of the same, but they separate them. Yeah, billing system.
What do you
email
mean running,
system?
What do you mean by running them locally?
Well, they got to be running the mail server locally.
Of
not
course.
in the cloud.
Well, what do you mean? Of course. I mean, I don't know.
First of all, most of businesses, whether small or large, they're running their systems locally. The cloud is catching up. The cloud is building up, but it's not the most widespread systems.
Gotcha.
So that's only starting in the last, I don't know, 5 years, right? You would talk about it if you would talk about the cloud 5 years ago was a hospital, was a bank, was a financial institute, with a law firm. You would talk with them of putting stuff in the cloud, they would laugh at you, right? Because it sounds absurd. It sounds like I'm going to put my most prized information on somebody else's infrastructure and I will have very little control over it. That doesn't make any sense.
Right. It didn't.
So yeah, it didn't make sense back then. So we're still transitioning. A lot of businesses, small or large, still trust their own infrastructure a lot more than the cloud. And at the beginning, I was a huge advocate of cloud computing, right? When it just came out, because it did make sense to me that these large firms that run these huge data centers, they are a safer place for a small institution, right? But there's also the thing of losing control. and that's still understandable. And besides, cloud computing isn't cheap.
Yeah,
There
that's for
is
sure.
no when you calculate it over, it's never cheap.
It's
Right.
cheaper than falling into this. You see, if their email, let's say, was somewhere else, Nick, you don't have to worry about your email system going down
Well, that's true. in
Uh,
some regards.
unless they attack Microsoft.
Exactly.
Well, yes.
What will
Right,
happen when
right.
Microsoft will be the vector of attack, and
Yeah.
suddenly,
Right.
and yeah, they'll survive. Microsoft will survive, right? But there'll be a few,
Yeah,
2 to 3 customers that'll lose their data.
Yep.
What then?
No, you're right. No, and yeah, absolutely, and that's the price you pay for allowing some exactly. And as you said, Gal, you would hope, I don't know, you'd hope that Microsoft is crossing their I's and or crossing their T's and dotting their I's with data recovery. But I
Oh,
just,
I'm sure they are, and not only that. When
I'm sure. Are you though? I mean, look at the
yeah,
track
when-
record of Microsoft. Are
but
we
look,
sure?
But look, when you buy cloud storage, right? You
Mhm.
can buy different tiers of cloud storage. You can buy redundant cloud storage. You can buy triple redundant. You can buy. There's all you choose what to pay for, right? So if something dies, they have a recovery option already built up for you if you pay for it.
Yeah.
It's all there. It's all a matter of how much you want to invest.
It's the same as paying, like we always paid all our lives, insurance. That's what it is. Insurance is not cheap.
Well, it goes a little deeper than that, Amnon. I mean, if I'm city manager or mayor of one of these cities, you would be hard pressed to keep me from mandating that Windows be dumped as the operating system of any large enterprise like that. I mean, even with the best IT people in the world, how do you protect against such a ravaging situation as this? I mean, in the old days, 10 years ago, when we were doing this, we would say, you're an idiot if you click on that stuff. Now they've gotten so slick that it's not even hard to click on something like that in the future, because there's so much email, so many attacks from so many ways. You really don't have any way of knowing whether you're able to open a
Yeah.
particular thing. I mean, there's some gotchas like zip files and all that, but I'm just telling you, you don't have to be the idiot that you once had to be to open these things. But then again, I mean, honest to goodness, I mean, the Wake County library system is on Linux. If you go to the library to use their system, and it's just a database front end, all they really use is the web browser, but it's all Linux based. And I mean, where was it? At one point, I don't know if this held true, but at one point, the government of Mexico, the Windows sales guy went down there from Microsoft and said, yes, your VLK subscription will be, I don't know, $2 billion this year. And they threw him out of his office and they converted everything over to Linux. Again, I don't know how that worked out. I don't know if it's stuck. I don't think you need to be stupid about it. But if you look at a lot of the applications that government uses, most of them are not very sophisticated. I mean, they're going to have engineering departments with special needs and so forth, and drafting departments, tax departments, but these departments are probably already using Linux databases to manage most of their data. They just don't know it. I don't think it would be very difficult to start converting most of government over to fully Linux-based systems. Or you could do what the city of Atlanta did. The city of Atlanta got hit with ransomware, and the hackers demanded $52,000 in cryptocurrency. And the city of Atlanta thumbed their nose at them, said, we don't pay ransoms. And then they went out and spent $17 million to get their computer system back up.
Yeah, but they're a big city and they have big pockets.
Right.
Yeah. The thing is, I don't know that we can say here that education, although everybody should be educated into how they interact with their computer, what to open, what not to open. But a backup, a simple backup, like you said in the beginning, Mike. I mean,
No, it has to be an image.
Well, I mean,
Well, no,
but it's
not necessarily. Not necessarily.
It is. This thing destroys the operating system. It integrates itself into the operating system.
That does not mean that the operating system needs to be crippled by something like this. So I've been busy the past week building a server with some new file systems. There are file systems that can withstand such an attack.
You're talking about Linux.
No, not only Linux. That's the interesting thing
Okay.
about it. ZFS is a Unix, is a Solaris-based technology that's been around for a lot of years now. Solaris has been dead since then, right? And it passed to FreeBSD and then for Linux. And there are implementations of Windows as well on that. Now, if you're running a VM machine, right, that its hypervisor is a Linux machine, and you're running Windows over it, and the OS underlying that runs ZFS, then your Windows machine runs on a ZFS file system, right? It's possible. The infrastructure is out there. That's what is happening more and more. When things, so it's not just backup. Backup is always there. By the way, backup is never enough. It is always, the backup is always by your ability to restore your latest backup, right? So it's testing, restore again and again and again, right? A backup plan isn't about how you copy your old data to a new location. It's more how you restore that data, right? So that as well, and protection, detection. It's a complex world. Every enterprise now is a war zone, right? And whether the enterprise is 3 people in size or 50 or 50,000.
Gal, how are companies using virtualization, real-time virtualization mirroring, for example? I know it's probably not out there except in maybe scientific or really high value, but I mean, think about
they're
it.
using it more and more because VMware has built in into their virtualization systems today. So you're starting to see it more and more.
So that would be ideal as long as the data is protected, that you have a one-way, basically a one-way.
Yeah, but that will work. That will work only if you have detection in place. Because if you're not going to detect and you're infected, your mirror is infected as well, right? It's like that.
What do you mean by detect? So I always wonder about this. So this city in Florida, they detected what sort of?
No, it can.
Well, that's what I'm at. What is malware bytes detection? Is there some type of other software suite? What is the detection?
There's software suites. Okay. It really depends. So
I mean, they probably saw that things were beginning to shut down. They saw weird things happening, and smart people will say, "Okay, yeah, we have a problem." It's not.
I don't know what helped them detect it 10 minutes after the attack, because that is rather quick for ransomware. I mean, I'm just a tech guy from the company I work for, but one of the things that we have is everything hooks up to the file systems and Exchange and SharePoint and VPNs and firewall logs and stuff like that. And user behavior is basically modeled. And so when a specific user in the system does something out of the ordinary, that triggers alerts. And that happens real time. And so the system already knows what normalcy looks like, right? So when something is out of the normal, that can trigger, and then you can write scripts, to disable that user immediately and shut down the computer that's running on, stuff like that. So those are like high-end systems that do this.
I work in a BYOD environment, and yeah, I mean, I don't even know how I'd begin to monitor. I wouldn't have a way to monitor anything like that. It's just not. Not a way to. There's just I don't know of a way to do something like that.
Well, what kind of access are those devices given? Do they have full access to all network resources?
I mean, I guess so. Yeah, it's just regular people bringing in their laptops.
Well,
With BYOD, with laptops, it's a lot riskier because everybody has full access to their own machines. And when you have the admin token Windows on your own machine, that means that when you connect to the network, you identify, hey, I am an administrator on mine, so I can impersonate other users.
Yeah.
Something the non-admin user does not have over the network. And so you're running a risk.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can still deal with bring your own device, but you need to harden every device that is connected to the network. So there needs to be some software suite that is allowed or not. Funny, the best systems are phones. Even they are bring your own device. They're remote admin suites you can install on them, and if they're not on the phone, then nothing is allowed. But this ramps up the cost of your environment substantially.
Yeah, I don't think it's realistic for a lot of small business. They're sitting ducks. All you really can do is back up your data and pray
But
that it doesn't happen.
But that's the absurdity, right? So what is better, buying a $1,000 system per person that you'll manage for the next 3 to 5 years, right, depending on the maintenance plan that you're planning on, and provide the systems to your employees, right? Or pay extra for protection, additional protection that you need just because you're exposed like 80% more than any other system. Right.
The answer to your question is that most managers aren't going to spend the money until they get hit.
Yep.
Right.
That's true.
Bingo.
Because it interferes
I
with
agree.
their bonus.
Of course, but that's the thing. It needs to be put on the ROI calculation, right? How much
That's
this is going
easy
to
after you've
cost.
been hit. City of Atlanta can now say if we had spent $100,000, we could have saved 17 million. They can understand that.
Yeah.
The idea of spend $100,000 in case somebody hits us with ransomware just goes completely over their moronic head.
But you see, you would hope that other companies would learn from this situation and say, okay, we shouldn't wait until then. You hope.
Amnon, play this back after the show and listen to what you just said.
Well,
no, I mean, it's just, it's
Amnon,
like
as
like
an
anything else.
ISP, right? You know exactly what people are expecting.
oh, I know what people are expecting, but I know what I expect, and I know what I do to stop people from being able to damage the system. And in most cases, you err on the side of caution. And I mean, shoot.
Amnon, that's the beauty of capitalism. Protection costs money.
Well,
Where's a rim shot? We need some rim shots in here.
I mean, sometimes Ron turns around and says, I don't know, are you sure you want to do that? You know that that's going to make it harder for the user to do such and such. I said, yeah, I know, but it's okay. I'll help them understand it, those that need it. And that's how you do it. And do we have situations where users are, oh, I'm not, come on, we're trying and it doesn't work? I said, yeah, well, your IP changed, so let's fix it. And it always works, but it's nice to see, okay, yep, they couldn't get in. Because somebody else was trying to get in. There are ways to do it. And yes, I agree that it's easier said than done. In many cases, the IT department does not want to be bothered with calls all day long. Hey, what's going on here? What's going on there? So they say, okay, let's make it easier. And this was always the problem with Windows. That's why Unix was more secured. It's because we always said that in Windows, everything is open. You need to know what to close And if you are a Microsoft engineer, so to speak, whatever the title was back then with NT and all that, you would know what ports to close, what services to eliminate, and all that. With Unix, it's the other way around. Everything is closed. You need to know what to open. And that makes you or whoever is trying to use Unix have to learn about those systems and what to do. Because if you can't just take a CD and install it and, oh, everything is working.
We keep saying something interesting. We keep saying IT department.
Yeah,
and if you
I
look
know.
at most small business,
They
it's
don't.
some jackass like me that's responsible for everything and responsible for the printer and responsible for everything else. So there's no IT department.
No, you are the IT department.
Well, I understand, but what is somebody?
I have bad news for you, Nick.
What is somebody in my what is somebody in my situation supposed to do to best protect myself at a reasonable cost? Because that's what it comes down to, Ga, as you said. Nobody wants. They're not going to spend any money because they're stupid until all their data's gone. Then there's a problem.
Then you'll just need to be the alarmist. And
I'm already the alarmist.
Yeah, you need to be the alarmist. You need to show. I mean, what we talk about over here, right? You need to, if you can find, let's call it graphic enough information that shows how easily these things are done, right? You know what? They're not going to pay for a new system. Fine, send them to a Kevin Mitnick doc.
Yeah,
send them to something fun, right? And that'll give them a smack in the head.
I would like, and I know you sent me a service last week. I don't have the time to do it, but I'd like to make the time. I'd like to stage a ransomware attack and see what happens. I'd be very interested to see. Maybe that's the way to do it. Now, I don't have 40 hours to dedicate to that, but I wonder if there's some harmless malware. I know that's not necessarily.
Yeah, I understand what you mean.
Some
Like
type of harmless malware that will
Yeah.
inject itself into the entire network, and you can say, oh, well, because you put this flash drive in, or you did whatever on your phone or whatever. Now if this was real, every single file that we have, including all of our payroll and everything else, is locked.
Right. So the simulation systems that you were asking about, and I did some search on it. No personal practice with those. What they do is they send out phishing mails based on the criteria that you set with the company. They send out phishing mails, and then they can report how many of the employees clicked and which employees, right? So if the payroll person clicked, that means the entire payroll data is exposed. And they do that, and they do a demonstration of what does it mean to click on the wrong link and how it can take down the entire system. So you take these two pieces of information. You take the show of how somebody can hack with just a click, right? And you link that to how vulnerable your people are education-wise on clicking it, right? And that creates acknowledgement that there is a very, very distinct problem over here that needs a resolution. The problem is that most people take this and say, okay, so we'll educate our people. That's not enough. That's never enough.
I kind of, besides doing backups, I kind of feel helpless in my environment, because they're really, I do wonder what were you, Mike stepped away, but I just, I don't know what to do. I mean, I'm just
make the backups as restorable as possible.
And wait for
the only thing
and wait for it to happen.
The cheapest way.
Yeah. And then just sit and wait for the inevitable, unfortunately.
There are some smaller edge gateway devices that you can look at. But they get pretty complicated. They look at sessions. They look at, oh gosh, years ago they used to sell these standalone devices that would have a VPN or an SSL session coming in. They would identify the protocol, they'd decrypt it, they'd analyze it, they re-encrypt it again and put it into the network. So it was basically a combination firewall, border gateway protocol, router, did a lot of different things, intelligence gathering device. I don't
Yeah.
know what it's called anymore. I don't remember even what it used to be called, but
I know-
it did analyze sessions and actually look at traffic patterns and do intelligent monitoring. And then it would shut down and isolate if somebody violated a procedure, or it would put them into basically a DMZ network, or a network on the side where they go through some type of remediation process. But what is the one you hear advertised on the
Barracuda.
radio, Amnon? Barracuda.
Yeah.
Barracuda makes a lot of small business products.
You have PFSense as well, which is a
They are
very,
expensive.
very strong.
The PFSense is
Uh,
open source, isn't it?
Yeah, you can build your own, but
Yeah.
it's still, for it to actually work, you need a beefy hardware platform.
Yeah.
And it's not just the building; it's the maintaining.
Well, and that's the big problem. You look at single IT environments like the one I'm in, managing and maintaining something like PFSense, and this may be incorrect, and if it is, somebody correct me. It just seems unrealistic.
It is
me to-
unrealistic.
For me to be managing something like a PFSense firewall router combo with everything
Oh, no.
else, with everything else. It's just not. I don't think it's realistic.
No, no.
Well, you can come up with a good out of band backup system,
Mhm.
whether it's local on at the end of the. I mean, if the worst that the best you could expect is maybe lose a day's worth of information. If you have a daily backup that's run out of cycle when people are not working, and you know you're not going to infect something.
Well, here's the good
But-
thing: is a lot of our information is on the cloud. As Sam said, we use Office 365 for email, and we use a couple of other various cloud services. So backing up individuals' BYOD is really not a problem. I mean, if you don't want to back up, if your computer's not backed up, that's your problem, not mine. It would be from.
So let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Everything's in the cloud, right? Is
a lot of it
two-factor authentication forced?
I've started forcing it, yes, on certain services.
Okay, at least do that, because what happens is if somebody powerful enough, right, is exposed and two-factor authentication isn't there, then they can take down everything in the cloud environment, and it's not Microsoft's fault.
Yeah, I'm going to start. I've started rolling out two-factor for Office 365. But again, that comes with its own hurdles, as you're dealing with non-technical people,
Right.
and now
There's
you're
education.
answering questions 7 days a week about how the hell two-factor authentication works. So then you go back to the original question: is it worth the headache, or is it better to just sit and hope to God that you don't get hit? I mean, that's kind of the situation. I don't know.
It's worth the headache.
It is. I would agree with you.
Unless they are their accounts can do only damage to their environment.
And that may
Right.
be true. In the case of Office, they just have access to their own email. But I guess they have access to SharePoint too, which could be a problem.
So you need
Have
What
there
were you
been
saying?
have there been any high profile lockouts of established cloud services that are not in the enterprise, separately contracted?
You talking
Meaning, like if you have a vendor that provides you cloud services to you and backup, had there been any major breaches of those services for ransom?
Now-
Not that we heard of,
Yeah.
but the only
So it's internal stuff that people are mismanaging. basically.
what was that email provider?
Oh yeah, but that was a single guy.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
and their servers was hit, and they lost everybody's email. But
Yeah, what was that called?
I can't remember.
It was like
Didn't
a guy.
Yahoo have that?
Yeah, did you lose
Yahoo
data
also-
though?
Yahoo lost a lot of data, no?
Oh, you know what? You're right. I do remember something about data like prior to 2014 or something like that was lost. Is that
Yahoo
the
data
Yahoo
breaches.
case?
Let's see.
Which one?
Yahoo, I think.
Oh
There's
yeah,
something
well,
about,
remember.
Yahoo, they had a breach,
yeah, but there was
and the
data
people.
lost 2012, 2014 data prior to that or something, or something weird. I don't remember.
I don't know, but yeah, anybody who anymore limits you to 8 characters passwords without special characters, and you cannot use this character, and that it's ridiculous today.
Yeah.
I mean, back then it was easier. There was to protect, but it was harder to break in.
I just switched to a service called what's it actually called? It's called Screen Connect. It's made by a service called ConnectWise, and it's a team viewer remote desktop alternative. And I was happy to see that they require two-factor authentication to log. It wasn't an option. Which, by the way, in TeamViewer, you do not have to run two-factor. I do, but you don't have to run two-factor. Maybe you do now, but you didn't have to run two-factor authentication. Which you think about that. And there was a TeamViewer exploit probably 4 or 5 years ago in which a whole bunch of accounts were leaked out. And I mean, you talk about full access to your system. They get access to your remote desktop suite. You're screwed. Even if you have backups, because they can go in there and destroy all that stuff, and you wouldn't even have an idea. So,
Does ConnectWise have a free for personal use thing? Doesn't look like it.
I don't think so. And unfortunately, there are a. I wish TeamViewer wasn't so damn expensive. They have
Yeah, it is crazy.
priced themselves out of the market with that.
They at one time they had a 1-day license that you
Maybe.
could buy, and I don't know if they don't have it anymore. It used to be, because if I would have a commercial customer that I wanted to connect to, and I wouldn't want to use the personal use session, so I said, "Oh, I'll buy a 1-day license,"
Yeah.
and you can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
It's too bad.
My Screen Connect is actually it looks like they're based in Raleigh, I think. Their phone number is a 919 number. Interesting.
Mhm.
It's $42 a month, and I don't know what that gets me. I mean, I it's like it's unlimited computers and up to 3 simultaneous connections, so I can be connected up to 3 different machines at one time.
That's not too bad though.
No, it's very reasonable because
But
TeamViewer is
not
like
for me.
7.
It's ridiculous. I couldn't, because
Te-
for the amount I'd use it, it'd be crazy.
Yeah, TeamViewer is like
So-
$7,000 a year, or some crazy thing like that. That's a little extreme, but it might as well be.
I looked at for a customer. I looked out for anything I could find that was free or next to free, and unfortunately, everybody's got warts that you just can't overcome in some cases for casual users.
Yeah.
So AnyDesk
Weird things about
isn't a
them.
good solution.
Wait, I think this is AnyDesk. This isn't. Wait, no, it's not AnyDesk. I looked at AnyDesk, and one of them did not have AnyDesk was the one that had a terrible mobile app. From what I remember looking at it, on AnyDesk's mobile app, you were unable to sign into an account, so you had to use session IDs on the mobile app to connect, which is obviously unrealistic.
How would you even find it on the mobile device?
Well, no. So from what I think it's AnyDesk. I don't think I still have it installed. Let me see if I do. No, I don't. But from what I remember, and I'll search for it real quick, the AnyDesk one, just like TeamViewer or any of these other services, your unique computer, it is AnyDesk. Yeah, your unique computer gets an ID, essentially a tag associated with it. And on AnyDesk, you weren't able to log into an account. It would just show you'd have to manually type in the ID, and then it would keep a history of it, which is good. But when you're scrambling to access something remotely and you're connecting to literally every single computer that you have access to get to figure out which one you need is unrealistic. TeamViewer still has the best mobile app. ConnectWise is all right. I'm not a huge fan of it, but it's that was the best cost for desk use and mobile app that I could find was AnyDesk.
Well,
or not AnyDesk, excuse me, ConnectWise.
check Display Fusion.
Yeah, I know they have a remote solution as
Yeah,
well.
I don't know if it's good, but check it. Let's see. Because there, then you pay once per machine, and you're done. So if it's any good, then at least you're solved on the cost side.
Yeah, and I'm pretty happy. I've used ConnectWise now. This is the 2 months now that I've had it on, and it's a little quirky. It's not. It doesn't have a program that runs for the connection side like TeamViewer. It has a server that runs on every computer, but unlike TeamViewer, it doesn't have a client to connect. So you have to go through the website, which is good and bad.
But TeamViewer will still work for you for the occasional connection, unless
I don't use it anymore. I mean, I have it installed.
I'm just saying, unless they see that you are reconnecting to the same computer again and again and again, they figured
the moment you connect and there's a domain, they flag the system.
I don't use domain, so that works out.
All right. Hey, Spence, you're ready?
Hey, Amnon.
You're ready for the special?
I will be. Give me a minute here. I was just doing some research in the background.
3.
No timelines. We don't respond well to intimidation.
Oh,
hold on. No, I'll be there in a second. Sorry, I was actually intrigued by the links that Mike and Nick put up about Apollo 11, and I was looking to see. I knew there was a new National Geographic documentary that's premiering on the 7th. I wanted to make sure I had it set up to record. So that's what I was researching. I apologize. Okay. Let me see here.
Why hotels and donut shops?
Why not? If we're going to control the border, we may as well make some money, right? It's just sort of steer no man's land, and we can brighten it up by having donuts, right? That's the announcement we're making today, that based on the new defrosting of the relationship with North Korea, we've got the contract now to monitor the DMZ and also provide hospitality services. So we're set for the future. Oh, well. Okay. So Computers 2K Now specials it's June 30th already?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Man, I got 2 weeks to go before I'm out of here.
There's you know what Epic Games is? The site that Fortnite, I think, is part of it, right? So there's a game that they're giving free today. It's called The End of June.
Oh, well, it's the end of June, right?
Yeah, it's the
That's
end
it.
of June.
Okay. So starting with laptops, we have a Lenovo Yoga 730 Core i5 13.3-inch touchscreen laptop at Best Buy. It's $699, $130 off. It's a 8 gig of memory, 256 solid state drive. Office Depot has a Dell 15.6-inch touchscreen laptop with i3 8 gig 256 SSD for $429, which is $170 off. And Staples has a Lenovo IdeaPad S340, which I have recommended to some people recently. i5 8 gig 256 SSD for $499, which is $200 off. Desktops and all-in-ones, we've got a Dell 23.8-inch AMD A9 all-in-one, 8 gig of memory, 256 SSD. Boy, they're selling a lot of SSDs lately. Prices have really come down. $579, $70 off at Best Buy. Office Depot has a Dell desktop i3 8 gig, 1 terabyte hard drive for $429, which is $100 off. And Staples has an HP 21.5 inch. Now they're calling it the J5505 quad processor. It's not identifying it necessarily as a Celeron or a Pentium, but it is a fairly good processor, low end quad, 4 gig of memory, 1 terabyte hard drive for $359, save $90. That's actually pretty good for an all-in-one. And if it's used for browsing and casual use, it certainly will perform well. That's at Staples. Tablets. Not too many people had actual dedicated tablets out there today, but Best Buy did have an Acer Spin 11.6 inch touchscreen Chromebook for $309, save $20. Office Depot has an Asus 11.6 inch 2-in-1 laptop with Windows 10. It's a Pentium quad, 4 gig of memory, 128 solid state drive. It may be too small for some people, depending on what you're using it for. But it's only $279, $120 off. And Staples has iPad on sale, 9.7 inch tablet for $299, which is $30 off the regular price, or 9%. And I didn't have time to do it this week, but maybe in the next week or so, I'll put together a short overview of the new 802.11ax standard. We've been running with the AC standard now for quite a while. AX is just now starting to ship products. Netgear is shipping this Nighthawk AX12 12-stream AX6000 router. Several other vendors have them. They'll be shipping soon this summer.
Looks like it's getting ready to take off.
It is actually. It looks like it looks like something out of Star Wars. Like it looks like the next generation Emperor ship there, right? So,
Looks
but
like a Stingray.
the significant things about what's coming out in the AX standard is much better cancellation of interference. Something called beam forming, which is where it detects a stream and can actually take multiple channels and build basically a multi-channel connection, so that you can actually multi-channel connections overcome interference much better. Because if you've got, say, a channel, it's based on military technology, right? If you have a single connection, a single stream going to a device, if that particular frequency gets interrupted, then you degrades the signal or cuts the signal. But if you spread it out across multiple frequencies or multiple sessions, it will then have the advantage of being able to continue to send data down all those streams. Even if one gets degraded temporarily, it can recover. It's the same technology that's used in data networks, mobile data networks, where they have to have a great deal of bandwidth available at a tower. So they'll send it to the tower using this multi-channel technology. It's just a great way to overcome interference. So beam forming, enhanced range. Now, keep in mind, you have to have an adapter that can respond to this. This does support going all the way back to, I want to say it supports G, does not support B. So forget about it. If you have any B devices left, you need to throw them away. But the problem with dumbing it down is that it lowers the most routers, it would lower the performance of the entire router. Here, you can actually have it segmented where you've got older technology, G technology, N technology will still function at a lower data rate, but you can set aside that dedicated beam using the AX and the very high speed beamforming to support a device that actually it does support the AX standard. One interesting thing that this particular router has, and it's something that Netgear has in their switch line, is 5 gig base T, which is 5 gig over twisted pair. So it's not just a 1 gig link, it's a 5 gig link. It was first used to link switches together to form basically backbone links. But now you can actually have it going to a desktop. If you buy a 5G base T adapter card, it comes in 2 gig, 5 gig, and 10 gig. I don't see 10 gig yet in anything but backbone links. But That's fast. I
Mhm.
mean, think about it will only run over category 6E cable to run the 5 gig stuff. But so you have to have the cable there that will support it. But $399, $100 off. That's the prices. This is going to drive the prices of all the other technologies down, which is great for us. So now you go to the other end of the spectrum of the recent technology. This is at Best Buy, by the way. Office Depot has a Netgear AC 1200 dual band router for $79, $10 off. This takes advantage of the AC standard. Again, you have to have an AC compatible network adapter to take advantage of the capabilities here. It's just going to give you better performance in a crowded Wi-Fi environment. So Staples, that's Office Depot. Staples has a Google dual band wireless Ethernet whole home system. It's one base station and 2 satellite for $259, which is $40 off. Storage. At Best Buy, we've got a SanDisk Ultra 512 gig solid state drive for $69.99, which is $20 off. Office Depot has Western Digital external portable hard drives, 2 terabyte for $69.99. You can get it in 3 different colors. That's just amazing.
Mhm.
Now, this next one has got all the soy boys excited. This is a Seagate Backup Plus Ultra Touch portable external hard drive. It comes in 1 terabyte and 2 terabyte versions. The 1 terabyte is $59, the 2 terabyte is $79. It's got a woven fabric enclosure.
Oh, well, that's why. Okay.
Oh, won't it just feel you so earthy? It's like you sit there and you got your
Ultra
sandals and you got your Egyptian cotton, organic cotton tee on, and just it's all about your hemp
Is it-
shoes, and
Is it conflict free fabric?
that's it. It's
It's got
no trigger fabric.
It's got to
Okay,
be conflict free.
no microaggressions are built into this fabric.
Perfect.
So, but here we go. So
We are so mean.
at Staples, $15 off. I mean, even just for a 1 terabyte drive, that's not bad. So you may as well get the fabric enclosure. Just you need to get the can of Scotch Guard and spray it so you don't get it all stained. You could drip your coffee on it at Starbucks and mess it up. So, okay, accessories. Now this is decidedly not high tech, but a good deal. Best Buy has a CyberPower 160 watt inverter. $19.99, save $20. It also has a 2.1 watt, 2.1
Amp.
let me see, I can't see the amp. I'm sorry, I'm trying to read
Charger, yeah.
USB. That doesn't look like a USB plug on it. I didn't really drill down to see whether it had USB. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it's just a 2.1 amp, 12 volt
It
connection.
is a USB.
Yeah, so whatever.
It's just a bad photo, but it is a USB.
It's a bad photo. So,
Yeah, it's a USB
that's-
charger. I mean, to charge your phone.
Yeah, but this is a two-way device. You could plug in a laptop power supply here
Yeah. Uh-huh.
to charge.
Yeah.
So handy for
Yeah.
travel if you're if you're out somewhere and you're worried about your laptop dying. I can remember using the original. What was the original GPS that you had as a USB pod that you would plug into your laptop? What was that company?
Mm.
It worked with. There was one specific. It wasn't.
Jarmin, maybe?
Maybe it was Garmin, but it was sold by the company that made the actual mapping software. And I can remember driving in the middle of the desert at nighttime, trying to get to Palm Springs from San Diego with my laptop open on the seat, using the GPS built into the laptop, trying to get to this conference I was going to, because I had to fly into San Diego because I couldn't get into Palm Springs. And here I am driving literally the desert. It's like 90 degrees at night with the wind blowing, with no lights anywhere. And I'm on the road with my GPS thinking, if this dies, I'm dead. Right. So I had to plug it into a converter, an inverter to power.
So you didn't have a paper backup? It's called a map.
If you saw, the problem was I was up in the high plains. Palm Springs was down in the valley. The road showed like a straight line coming to this point where it was just a blob of switchbacks back and forth, and then a line continued down like 3,000 feet lower.
Oh, so you just roll over. That's all.
Yeah, I could do a Thelma and Louise, just go off the cliff, and
Yeah, you'll get there eventually.
I will, in a pile of rubble, but that's okay. But a handy thing to have. I have an inverter in my work vehicle, just in case, a 300 watter that I can plug in if I ever needed it. I could charge some of my battery powered tools using it. It's powerful enough. Okay, Office Depot has a Logitech MK540 wireless keyboard and mouse combo. It's $39.99, 20 off. Consider that getting towards the high end. They do have a couple more low end ones below this, but it's a good keyboard. I have this one, and I have the 240, 260. I can't remember what the number is. 270. Okay. Staples has a Vivitar. Now, Amnon, I need you to test this. It says 50-in-1 card reader. 50 different combinations of support for different types of SD. And they named all the different cards that are supported by this thing.
Oh,
so can you test
jeez.
each one to make sure it works for me?
Of course.
All right. But
What is an
$14.99 for a USB card reader, 15
What's an
bucks
SD
off.
card?
It's just handy to have. Like, I have a couple of different versions of this, but certainly one that isn't 50. So,
Yeah.
all right. All right. Monitors multimedia. We have at
Less
Best
than
Buy.
that's less than 30 cents per type. That's great.
That's it. There you go. LG 34-inch ultra wide FreeSync monitor, $279. That's $70 off. Office Depot has a Dell 24-inch monitor, full HD monitor for $119.99, 60 off. And Staples has an HP 21.5-inch monitor for $79.99. That's 30 off. Printers and scanners. We have at Best Buy a Canon Pixma TS8220 all-in-one printer. This is an inkjet printer, $89.99, save $110. Office Depot has a Brother black and white laser for $99. This is a printer scanner copier. It's not a fax machine. It does not have a document feeder, but it does have a casual use copier / scanner built in. That's supposed to be 220 sheets, not 22 sheets. Sorry about that. It will hold 220 sheets in the drawer. It is auto duplex and handy for $99, $50 off. Staples has HP OfficeJet Pro all-in-one color laser printer for $249, $80 off. Now it says that it has voice activation. It works with Alexa, it works with Google. Now, what could you possibly want to do with your printer with voice? Tell me. I want to know.
Haven't you ever shouted at the fucking machine that it doesn't work? Now it'll understand you.
Oh boy. Well, I guess you could load the sheet feeder and say, okay, Alexa, make the OfficeJet Pro copy the sheets that are in the tray, automatic two-sided scanning. And
I think you give it too much credit.
I think I do. But I had to mention it because it was mentioned in the description. I said, well, what possibly? And maybe you could say, how much ink is left in the machine?
You talk for 5 minutes instead of putting the pages in there and pressing one button.
It would take you longer to come up with a command that Alexa would understand.
Yeah.
Right? So very interesting. It does have all the mobile print features, latest things out there from printing from mobile devices.
Yeah.
Which is handy in and of itself. Okay. Home automation and security. We've got the Google Nest Hub with Google Assistant for $79, save $50. Office Depot has, this is not a regular ad, but they do have a 2-pack of SmartLink Wi-Fi mini plugs. $34.99, which is $39, $5 off the regular price. Staples has Amazon Blink X2. This is the second generation indoor-outdoor home security cameras. It's supposed to be higher resolution and longer battery life. These are battery-powered devices, more up to 2 years of battery life. for $229.
Hmm.
That's again not a regular. This is just something I found searching because it wasn't anything in the regular ad. Okay, at Walmart, we've got Roku Premiere 4K streaming device for $49, which is a good price for the 4K. They have an HP Ghost Silver i3 laptop. This is a 8 gig machine, 1 terabyte disk, $459. Man, a Roku 32-inch TV for
Mm.
$118.
What
Damn.
was the one you sent me this week? It was a TCL, Gal.
Yeah, but that one was 4K, so it was a
Oh,
bit
okay.
more expensive. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was Walmart as well.
Yes, amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. And finally, they've got, I know a lot of people are saying, oh, I can't afford to get a new phone because it's $800. And if you want to go with one of the Walmart subscription services that they sell, different vendors are out there. I forget for the main one that they advertise, but you can buy, preloaded time and all that. I get really good deals on riding on other carriers' networks for cheaper. And you want to buy a new phone, you don't have to go with an iPhone. You don't
Oh,
have to
these are
go
good
with a more.
phones.
These are actually pretty good phones. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Moto stuff. My daughter's a big fan of the Moto phones. She gets a new one every couple of years, but $139 on Walmart Family Mobile. So that's, I guess, their own internal branded mobile service now. So it's worth a look. Okay, but wait, there's more. Staples has a Bluetooth Wi-Fi speaker for $29.99. It's $30 off. It's Versa to Go. It has a lot of Wi-Fi, Wi-Fi speaker too, Bluetooth and Wi-Fi combo. That's the key. There's a lot of Bluetooth stuff out there. You can go to the dollar store or Five Below and walk out with a bunch of Bluetooth stuff for $5
So
or less.
how
The
would
quality of
Wi-Fi
the
work?
sound is, I don't know, but it does say it supports Wi-Fi.
Yeah, I
So
wonder
I
what
guess there
that
must be.
means.
It's got to have an onboard client
Well,
somehow.
Yeah.
the speaker that we had, it's a Samsung speaker for the TV. It worked for a while. Was working through Wi-Fi.
Yeah, so that I understand because both were Samsung. They both had an agreed upon
Yeah.
protocol.
Correct.
Right. I wonder what that means
I
here.
don't know.
Yeah.
I'll try to research that. That's interesting.
Interesting. And for a straight Bluetooth speaker, it's not cheap. But if it's a Wi-Fi speaker, I thought that was a pretty good price if the sound is decent. So,
Mhm.
okay, Staples has a 24-inch LED monitor for $109, $90 off.
I mean, wait. Let's go back to the speaker. It looks. I don't know how good it is because it looks like it has a little ring there to hang it with your keys.
No, not for your keys. It's to hang it in your bath. Actually, it's waterproof.
Oh,
Oh,
keep going. Sorry.
does it have a built-in soap caddy?
IP67 waterproof, whatever that means.
Oh, that's a standard. It's a standard for like
Yeah, I just don't know.
hearing aids and other devices
Yeah.
to say how water resistant they are. It's a
Oh, here.
a
Tested to withstand water, bumps, dirt, and more.
yes, and more like being driven over by a
Yeah, that's
car.
what well, it's $49.99 on Amazon. So
Wow.
Yeah, it's a good deal then. $30.
Yeah. the rating is low though. People don't like it. I wonder why.
All right,
Probably
Spence.
because it when it gets wet, it sparks. Something like that.
Shocks the
Yeah. All right. Office Depot.
No,
Has
I
a
mean I
cheap-
stopped you on Staples.
Oh yeah, the 24-inch LED monitor for $109, save $90. Office Depot has a TP-Link AC 1300 wireless dual band USB adapter, $39. This is not a typical from the ad, but it's still a good price. This is USB 3, has to be for this to support these speeds. But the idea here is that if you want to take advantage of an advanced AC router, you can use this to upgrade either your laptop that has an older card chipset in it, or
Well,
a
if your
laptop or a
laptop
desktop.
if your
So,
laptop is that old, then you
well, if
don't
that's
have
this, in order to take advantage, it will work backwardly compatible with
Yeah.
USB 2. So, but you won't, if you
Right.
do have a machine that does have, I have older laptops, 5, 6 years old, that have USB 3 on them. It was brand new, but it's still out there. But the Wi-Fi was limited to N. So they're
Yeah.
just the Wi-Fi speeds weren't very good. So it's a way to get around some of the, and to add enhanced speed to an existing network. And especially here to take, even if you don't get the speed out of it, to use the AC standard to overcome interference issues with high density Wi-Fi areas that you, like my neighborhood is just packed with Wi-Fi. You can go outside and stand there with your phone and you can detect 25 networks. So it's, and most of them are configured to the default frequencies, which makes it very crowded at, say, channel 11 and channel, I forget what the other one is, channel 6. But okay. Best Buy also has, I'm sorry, Office Depot also has a 5-pack of 16 gig USB 2.0 flash drives for $21.99. Save $23. So if you just, I just like having flash drives around to have all different sizes, all different types, USB 2, 3. I just like having them around because there's some stuff I copy and say, oh, I'll keep this for a while. I'm not going to keep it forever, but I might want to save it. If I'm working on somebody's machine and I back up their documents, I'll hold on to it till, 6 months goes by and, they've moved on basically.
Are these 4 gig each? No, they're
16
not. That's 5
16
of
gig.
them. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. No.
Yes. It doesn't say, the fine print says 16 gig divided across 5
Yeah.
devices. Right? Yeah. That wouldn't be too good, but not bad for 5 16
Yeah.
gig flash drives. What does that
That's
come out to? Divided by
that's
5, it's
about
like
4 something.
$4 a piece. Hey, there you go. It's a Christmas stocking stuffer. You buy the package and you give 1 to each of your 5 children. Right? Okay. Best Buy has a SanDisk UltraFit 128 gig USB 3.0 flash drive. This is the kind that kind of disappears. You plug it into the side of your laptop or in the back of your PC and you forget about it. $21.99, $20 off for 128 gig.
Yeah.
They also have a Logitech MK540. Is that the same keyboard as I showed before?
Mhm.
Yeah, just you got to watch me in the morning. Sometimes I'm not exactly all here. MK540 for 39.
Well, it's the same price also. So that's not what.
MK540 for 39. Okay,
Yeah.
so you got 2 places to get it for $39.
No excuses
Buy.
not to get it.
Yeah. Okay, and finally, $268 for a 50-inch 4K Roku TV at Walmart. $268. Wow. I wish I
Indeed.
had room for a 50-inch television. My current furniture situation in my family room would not allow me to. I'd have to put it on the wall or over the mantle, and I'm not going to do that. So, and there you go. That's at that price, you could buy a new one every year.
And so you should.
Oh, you could. I mean, you're not.
It,
If you're a technophile when it comes to this kind of stuff, and you're looking at artifacts and black screen, how intense is the black and all those things and refresh times and all that stuff. This is probably not the television for you.
Oh, maybe, but maybe I don't know. It's starting to be cheaper than wallpaper, right? So just as much as possible, and then you have any view you want.
You can cover the whole wall with these TVs.
Start by covering the windows, right?
Yeah.
And then you have any view you want out of the window. Then you start covering the walls, and
When
we're
I was
getting
a
there.
kid, I lived in a very small house. My two older sisters and my parents. It was a 3-bedroom house, 1 bathroom. I think it was about 1,200 square feet not including the basement, maybe a little bigger than that. And I had a bedroom that was like the size of a closet. And that's where I grew up. And then as I got older and I started to get taller, the room was really cramped. But my dad built me a room in the basement, a bedroom for me. And there was only one like basement window on one end of this room, very dark. But he built a fake window for me with a window pane and everything, and put a fluorescent light in it so I could turn it on and it looked like a window. Well, imagine
Cool.
what he could have done had he had one of these televisions.
Exactly.
He could have made me a window with a live camera from outside the house. That would have been cool. But oh well, that was in the 1960s. So
Yeah.
oh well.
All right.
All right. Well, that's it for Computers to Canal Specials for June 30th,
Thank
the
you.
last day of June, 2019.
We were talking during the special. I was mentioning that Gal sent me the slick deal about the TCL Roku TV. There's Gal, the TV that you bought,
Yeah.
was probably new, right? It wasn't a refurb.
No, that was. I think that was new. I mean,
Yeah,
specifically
there-
mine.
there's
I
one.
bought two. I bought one new and I bought one open box.
Okay,
but yeah.
the refurbs, apparently they don't have any warranty
Mm.
that you can, like, for 2 or 3. Because I was saying, yeah, I could do what Gal did and just pay another $20-some for 5 years or whatever. They don't
So-
have anything. It's 90 days. That's it.
So the link I sent, that was a refurb. Okay.
Yeah, these were refurbs. Yep.
Okay.
I mean, the price is good.
Yeah.
No doubt.
I'll keep.
but
I'll still keep looking.
Yeah.
Look, up until February, we'll probably get more deals, right? Because of Super Bowl. So if this is what we get before Christmas, think about what's going to happen.
What's gonna
this
happen, yeah.
Christmas and then Super Bowl.
Yep.
So,
All right. Good morning.
It's Mike in Keensburg.
Hey, Mike.
Calling about that OneDrive problem I had.
Yes.
Told you about last
So what'd you
week.
find out?
It turns out there are two different applications that you need on your system. One was the Windows app that I downloaded and installed from the Windows Store, and that allows access to the OneDrive server from anywhere. You can access your files from anywhere. The other one is a desktop application, and that's the one you have to install in order to get a OneDrive virtual drive on your hard drive and give you access to sync your folders. And that's the one that I didn't have installed.
So, but first thing first. So you do see OneDrive in your.
After I installed that desktop application, I do see the OneDrive.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I found out why I never used OneDrive before. It has a sync feature, but the sync feature is not to sync your folders to the server. It's to sync the server to your hard drive. So after I uploaded all my folders and I hit the sync button, it proceeded to copy all the server files back to my hard drive in the OneDrive folder. So I wound up with another 25 gigabytes of data on my hard drive, all duplicate files.
or you start using everything from the OneDrive folder.
That's what you're supposed to do, but that's
Yeah.
not what I want to do.
Yeah.
What I wanted to use it for was a backup of my data onto the OneDrive server, an automatic backup, which was what I thought that sync function would do. But it doesn't work that way.
Mm. Well.
So it's basically useless to me.
Don't give up yet. Take a look. Haven't used them in a while, but there's a service called ODrive. I'm checking if they're still around. Yeah, odrive.com. So what they do is you use their application instead of the OneDrive application or a Google Drive application or whatever, and it hooks up to the service, and yeah, they work with OneDrive.
It's ODrive, ODRIVE.
Yeah, odrive.com. I'll paste them in the chat. And I think it's their client is more configurable. At least it used to be. I haven't used them in a while. I've moved to a local client, so it's a bit different for me.
Does it do an automatic?
Yeah, it does.
Backup
It does.
to
It does
the
sync.
server?
It does sync. It's very similar in the concept, but I think it lets you select folders, something that the native applications usually don't. And I remember I had good results with that. So, and it hooks up to all of the free cloud offerings out there. And the nice thing about it, it also can hook up to multiple accounts. So
Does that mean it would work
if
with
you have
Google Drive?
you can use a mixture of those.
Okay, because I just found out I've got 15 gigabytes of storage on Google Drive.
Yeah, but that should include also your Gmail use. So check that. Check how much free you have.
Yeah, it does include Gmail, but I don't use Gmail very often, so there's little in that.
Right.
All right, I'll give that a shot.
Yeah. Let us know if that makes any difference.
Yeah, I'll give you a buzz next week if I see that it works.
All right, Mike.
All right.
Thanks
Thank you
for
much.
calling.
That reminds me, I wanted to bring up about anybody else experiencing delivery issues with Gmail.
No.
I don't know why it happens to me, but on more than one occasion it happened to you, Amnon. I tried to send the specials that day and couldn't send it.
But
I don't
it
know what
worked
happened.
today.
Kept
But it
failing.
worked.
I actually got failure notices that time, but there are multiple times where I sent
What did it
emails
say?
with attachments to people, and it says message sent. There's no way, unless you're a commercial user of Gmail, that you can actually do a trace on an email.
No, but you said you did get notices
I got notices for your email when
Yeah.
I wouldn't send.
saying
That meant that they were trying to send it, and an error message was coming back. Other times I send stuff, it says sent. You wait. If you look at the Gmail screen on the web interface, it'll show when you send something, it'll say sending, then it will say sent, and then it will say undo for about 10 seconds or so. And then it will say view message. So you can watch. Eventually the undo goes away. But you get the sent indication, sending, and then it says sent. So it does have some acknowledgement prompting it to say sent. So I've had more than one occasion where I've sent people things, typically with attachments, they never see it.
well, how did you send it today?
Same way I always send it.
So it worked today.
Yeah, at that one time it didn't work.
Yeah,
So
I would think that there was a problem with
But all the other
Gmail.
times that I send it, and now it is a different email address, and I tried sending it to you from two different email addresses, and they both failed.
Yeah.
So
Oh.
I don't know what was happening there.
We'll never find out. It's Google.
We won't, because you can't, unless you're a commercial user, you cannot get delivery information
Okay.
or look at the log. So
Let's switch a little bit here. Hey, Nick.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, how are you? Welcome back.
So something happened Wednesday with social media.
Yeah. So Wednesday and Thursday, there were two, at least in the US, there were two Democratic presidential debates, 10 candidates apiece. And Wednesday morning, I was out of town last week, but I was on my phone and whatnot. I started seeing Twitter talking about Reddit, and I started looking into it. And Reddit has quarantined the subreddit that is called the _Donald, which
yeah,
is
I know I'm on it, and I got I couldn't get to it from the mobile app. At all.
Yes.
You can get to it from a computer, but
So that's part of it. So essentially, they quarantine Reddit quarantine subreddits for they I don't know, they made hate speech or whatever the hell. I mean, if you've ever been on Reddit, it's a cesspool. That's what it is, and it's called the front page of the internet. People threaten to kill each other in comments. It's the internet. I mean, it's not your Sunday morning church service. So with that being said, they quarantined the Donald, which has got almost 800,000 subscribers to that subreddit, and it, by the way, has been actively censored by Reddit now for almost 2.5-3 years. They have the most post activity of almost any other subreddit, and their posts never show up on the front page. With that aside, as Spence said, when Reddit quarantines a subreddit on the website, you can say, oh, okay, well, it's like when Chrome or Firefox tells you this website might not be safe, and you can still click a little drop down and click I want to proceed anyway. You can do that on the website, but on the mobile app, you get caught in a feedback loop. If you go to the reddit.com on your phone on Safari and go to the subreddit, it opens up the mobile app. The mobile app says the app is quarantined, visit it on the website. So you are unable to get to the app. You're unable to get to that subreddit.
Actually, as of last night, I updated the Reddit app to the newest one, and I can get to it now.
Interesting. Well,
I think they fixed it. You still have to opt in.
I have 88 apps that need to be updated. Oh, you're right. 2 days ago, they did a fix.
They did.
Updated, share email, fix bug that caused images, fix buzz that.
Six bugs that deliberately blocked the Donald.
So I'll update that right now and see what happens. But nevertheless, they quarantined this subreddit right before the Democratic debate. So the ongoing saga that we've talked about in this program of kind of selective censorship. All right. So moving along with that, this shoehorns perfectly into something that we've talked about a little bit as well. And I'm not sure if you followed this at all, Spence, but gab.ai was is a social media. They call themselves the free speech social network. The only content they ban for the most part the only content they ban are physical threats against people, doxing, which would be releasing Spencer's address on the site, things like child pornography, things that are explicitly illegal. That's the kind of content that they ban. So is there some sort of censorship? Yes, but it is revolving around actual crimes, not just, I think Amnon is stupid. They're not going to ban my comment for that. Sorry. You can ban me from the show, but they can't ban me from Gab. Okay, so they've had a crazy uphill battle. Both Google and Android and the Play Store and Apple and the iOS store have deemed the app hate speech and not appropriate. So they're unable to have apps in the stores. Now, if you're a social media person, that doesn't work. You have to have a mobile app. That's how most people access social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, from their phones. Okay. So it's a long story, but we'll get there. Gab is transitioning from a standalone social network to a Mastodon instance. We've talked about Mastodon on this program for the last couple of weeks. Mastodon is an open source federated social network. You host the server, you being the person, you host the server, you're in control of it, and everybody else's Mastodon instances can decide what they want to do with your social network. It's kind of like, think about it like a whole bunch of Facebook groups, except you have an account for each group, and they're not necessarily connected. That's kind of how Mastodon works. That's
think about FidoNet.
You remember FidoNet?
Oh,
before my time.
It's a long before your time.
Yeah.
I use Quodvorum. I can't pronounce it. It's Mastodon, but it's another forum that a lot of people who got thrown off Twitter went to. didn't go to Gab.
Mastodon
And
is just a protocol, basically.
it's a protocol, yeah,
yeah.
but I forget what it's called.
So
But I'm learning how to use that now, and I do occasionally post.
send me a link to it. I'd be curious. I haven't heard of that.
Yeah.
So this is so the reason for this, from what I understand, I talked to Andrew Torba, the guy behind Gab, last week about it. The concept of them moving to Mastodon was that there are a whole bunch of Mastodon apps that are already in the App Store, and the way that Mastodon works is you download the app and you say, okay, Computers 2K Now's got a social network. It's social.computers2know.com. You type that in, log into your account, bada bing, you're in the social network. So, everything sounds great, except now more than half a dozen.
And especially with the apps, because Google kicked out. I mean, they deleted the Gab, and the iTunes took out the Gab app. So this was a way for them to get an app.
Yeah, and it's a little bit easier on the back end for them. I mean, Mastodon's already an updated open source service, so they built Gab from the ground up, and I mean it's a very welly built website and service, but it's from the ground up, so issues arise. So I don't know why nobody saw this coming. I guess they should have. From what I've followed so far, half a dozen iOS app Mastodon developers are blocking the gab.com or any Gab domain names from using their app. So if you try to, I have one of them installed. If you try to go to Gab's Mastodon, it just says cannot be found. And they do not let you sync. They do not let you use their app to access Mastodon. So, and of course, the reason is that they're a bunch of Nazis and they're fascists and all this other bullshit that these people keep spewing. So even with an open source hosted social network, if you want to censor and silence people, you can. And the way that they're doing it is the app developers, and by the way, they have the right to do this. It's their app. I'm not saying they shouldn't. It's their app. They are blocking domains from connecting to Mastodon instances by blocking the domain name.
Oh, hold on. This is interesting, actually, because it'll show the power of open source, but to a degree.
Mm-hmm.
So they can block a user from using the application,
correct,
and connecting to the Mastodon instance.
Mm-hmm.
But, and correct me here, they can probably not block the user entity of a Mastodon user resides on its server, right? On the server that it's registered to.
Correct.
And from there, everything that it tracks, everything that it's connected to, that's controlled by the server.
Correct.
So I'm talking about you because you're technical enough.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you can set up a Mastodon instance that connects to Gab.
Only federates with Gab, correct?
Right, that federates with anything that you want, but also federates with Gab.
True.
And that application will not block anything that comes from Gab. So
no, it shouldn't.
Yeah. So that's I agree. Right. On the one hand, it's nuts that they can block it. It's open source. Hey, but then again, they can block only so much. They can block only, the finger, but they can't block the entire hand, and they can't block the access to the entire body. So you can always hook up from a different site. They don't have the power of Facebook of completely erasing, right?
Now, fortunately,
that's what
there are like a dozen or two iOS apps for Mastodon, and now Gab developers are building their own Mastodon alternative, which is probably going to end up getting blocked anyway from the App Store. So
maybe not.
Here is the developer of the app called Tusky, which is available on both iOS and Android. And he posted this on Mastodon.social, which is like one of the main Mastodon servers. It says Tusky will keep blocking servers which actively promote fascism. This in particular means Gab. Don't even try to debate us about free speech. This is our speech expressing Antifa views, and we will keep doing it. We will get this next release out just in time for the 4th of July, which is when Gab is launching their Mastodon instance. I just find this to be very interesting that even on an a
Platform.
not centralized social network, there is still a coordinated censorship effort going on against a service that's not even available yet. It's not even out.
But look at this. He identified himself as Antifa, right?
Yeah.
So he puts himself automatically at the far end of the left spectrum, right?
Correct, but people don't care because most people aren't using Gab on Mastodon, so they'll continue to use the app without a problem.
That's okay until it matters to them and they can switch. Is that app paid for?
Tusky, I'm not sure. I don't believe so.
Okay, now what? And that's good to know that they are on the wrong side. Now, which apps are available that will work with Gab?
So I believe there's an app called Tootdon, or Toot is the equivalent to tweet on Mastodon. That's what they call it, and that one I'm able to connect to it on. I've got another one installed called Armor AMAROQ. It doesn't let me connect to Gab, but but they haven't done an update in months, so I don't know if maybe they've got some type of XML file that they're storing on a cloud website that's something that's looking at a server to see what to allow. Maybe it's just an issue with that domain, but I'll note it. So Gab comes out July 4th. That's when they're launching their Mastodon instance, and
probably list those that they recommend or whatever.
We should list those that
so
do work.
I will once Gab is
especially
out,
if we're going to do something with Mastodon.
Which we are. Amnon's gonna help me set something up here. We're just gonna install something and play around with it. But once Gab is actually out and I can log into an account, I don't have a developer account with them right now, so I can't log into their developer portal. But once Gab is out and I have an account, I will go through all the free iOS apps and let you know which ones are available and which ones are not. The one I know for a fact that works right now is Tootdon, TOOTDON, and it's like an aqua blue elephant. It's on iOS, and so far they are not blocking Gab. But I found this to be atrocious. To is the word I'll use for it. This just blatant censorship based on false premises, like they're a bunch of fascists and they're a bunch of Nazis and just stuff that's just nonsense. I mean, Amnon uses the website. I think probably Amnon uses Gab here more than anybody else. And from what me talking to Amnon about it, he has not seen all of these crazy things that is being claimed, like this jackass from Tusky that's developing that app. So I find it to be very interesting, and I mean, who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? But I'm on a ham radio Mastodon that I, by the way, told the developer today to F off and deleted my account, who already said they're blocking all of Gab's domains for the same reason, because of hate speech.
Yeah, right.
They said they haven't blocked any other Mastodons. By the way, there are Mastodons that actively, and I'm not condoning this, but there are Mastodons for things like child pornography, pedophilia, crazy things like that, because it's an open source platform. Anybody can host a server. Anybody can do what they want on it. It's the internet. I mean, that's what we're talking about. So there are Gabs that are not Gabs, excuse me. There are Mastodons, underground Mastodons that are tailored towards that. And this one community I was in is federated, is not blocking those, which are, these people are committing literal felonies, but they're going to ban and block Gab's domain because of Nazism and hate speech. It's just ridiculous. And frankly, at this point, I'm getting to the point where I would previously just shrug it off and say no. I mean, I'm starting to get real fed up with this shit, and we're gonna start fighting back, and that's gonna be the end of it, because it's getting very annoying.
Several high-profile people on the conservative side have already said this is it. We can't sit around for this anymore. It's fighting back. People are going to accuse us of, you've never fought back before. Yeah, we always sat and took it.
Yeah.
So now it's time to fight back.
Yeah, and this goes on, and I won't get into this a whole lot, but you can hear about it tonight on the show. A journalist was attacked with concrete in Washington State yesterday. Concrete
Yeah,
milkshakes.
he was a gay conservative journalist.
Yeah, and he was attacked. He's currently got
Stole his cameras. The police did nothing.
Yeah,
They
and he's
watched it happen.
currently in the hospital with some brain
Yeah.
hemorrhages. So
Yes.
there's a chance he may die. Hopefully not, but that's kind of what we're talking about. And by the way, Twitter has got an account for the group that attacked him that is actively promoting that they attacked him. That account is still active on Twitter.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, this shit is getting way out of control, and it's coming to a boiling point. People on our side are going to start getting violent because this shit's ridiculous. So, tune in tonight, special 2-hour show. We got a lot to do. 7 to
I don't know
9
if
p.m.
tell me if the link in the forum or link in the chat is actually available. Will they take you to the picture?
Yes, it will.
Oh, good. Because I think everybody needs a good laugh.
That's a good Instagram account, by the way. You should follow them.
Yeah, typical liberal. It's great.
So yeah, that's what's going on. So just more of this interestingly time-based censorship. We'll know more what July 4th with Gab when next week I'll talk about how you can get registered for it for their Mastodon, and we'll go through some of the apps and the services. And I'm really gonna start embracing Mastodon because we've talked about it before here. You can't just sit back and let you can't let your services be destroyed and not have any recourse. So we're gonna start moving towards Gab or Mastodon rather, and see what happens.
All right. Well, it's that time of day again. Anything?
We're going to IHOP and you're buying?
Oh, really? I'll come up and join.
Any other things that anybody wants to bring up real quick? Mike, you're sitting there quietly.
Nope, I'm good. Thanks.
All right. Gal?
Nope.
Anything else we forgot to bring up? Nope. All right.
Nope. Just a 2-hour show. I'm doing a 2-hour show tonight. So join us for that. Lots of stuff to talk about.
All right. So thanks, Nick, Spence, Mike, Gal. And good morning, Kathy, Hannah, Nabil, Mac, Norm, Katie, and Donna. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in to Computers 2K Now. We hope you enjoyed and maybe learned something from our time together. Remember to practice safe computing. Back up your hard drive, update your virus scanner. We'll be back here next Sunday at 9, but you can always reach us at computers2know.com. Like Nick said, tonight at 7, Nick is hosting Against the Norm, and it's going to be a 2-hour show. And at 9, Mike Phillips hosts the Crypto Culture Show. Both these shows are on Wilmington Big Talker 106.7 FM, and you can listen to it anywhere in the world on TuneIn. And if you don't know how to find it, it's in the links on the left in the nav bar. Talk to you later.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by Telestream's Wirecast software, StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.